Well, folks, there have been multiple requests to give an overview of the sights and sounds that I've encountered on this amazing journey. What I'm about to share are my top-of-mind recollections of places and people and are not in any specific order. My first big takeaway is just the sheer vastness of the United States of America. Words fail me in describing the vastness, hugeness, humongousness of our great country. I continue to ruminate on this while riding and seeing the views through the handlebars. As I gather these thoughts, I'll share in Rusty Rides America Fireside Chats. Hope you enjoy the face-to-face. I know I've shared either in the videos or comments to your posts that I've been using my Google Maps and Garmin Zumo XT2 GPS and set them to no highways, no tolls, and no ferries. Public service announcement. At a minimum, Google, which I've leaned on for turn-by-turn directions, has been great with one exception. Twice, once in Texas on the way to Amarillo and once leaving Williams, Arizona, and thinking I was headed to riding historic Route 66 took me for a very exciting ride. The first, on the way to Amarillo, took me off the historic bicycle Route 66 and sent me down a dirt road. I thought, well, this might just be a very short distance, and rode at approximately 10 miles an hour to keep from damaging anything on the Spyder. Well, this turned out to be approximately 3 miles, and I could see it went on for another couple of miles. All told, with turnaround back to the asphalt jungle, it was about a 6-mile, 50-minute error. The second time, in Williams, it was a 38-mile mistake. After doing some reading, it says if you say no highways, Google accepts dirt roads as legitimate. Again, I've now learned, and reading shows, that my Garmin will highlight if the route contains dirt roads. People highlights, restoring my faith in humanity, one person at a time. I'd say the first surprise was my desk receptionist at the Madison, Illinois Spark Hotel. After check-in, I went out to get my luggage and bring it into the room. She came to the sliding door, saw the Spyder, and says, "Is that your Spyder?" I said, "How do you know that's a Spyder?" She said, "My dad is a midnight marauder and she's going to get her own Spyder." I gave her one of my trip patches to keep for herself or to give to her dad. Thanks for the highlight. Collectively, I'm shouting out all my subscribers and posters that have welcomed me into the Spyder community. I've reached out to John, of John and Miriam, asking for advice about the channel and video content, and his words were, "Be myself and be real." The Spyder community is mostly lenient with technical mistakes. Understand we're not all professional videographers. To date, I think John has been 100% correct, with most of you highlighting the positive portions of my video stories and maybe pointing out areas for refinement, but not outright trashing the content of my videos. Thank you all. I also reached out to Purple on 3, and she was most gracious in her comments and feedback. Thank you, Purple. Special moments. Bolingbrook, Illinois. I met Jack in the Home to Swedes while eating breakfast prior to departure. Jack walked by me to get some coffee and saw my New York Giants Super Bowl 42 champions t-shirt and had to point out he was an Eagles fan, even though he's from South Jersey. It happens more than you think. The hotel had Good Morning America on, and Michael Strahan was doing some news story, and Jack had to point that was my man from Super Bowl 42. I concurred and said that was the last time we really won anything. I also told him that with him being an Eagles fan, we probably shouldn't speak. We both went on with our meals and getting ready to check out. I grabbed a luggage cart and was loading the Spyder when someone came up to me and said, "I wish I had a sidecar so he could ride with me." We chatted for a while. I gave Jack my YouTube channel address, and we went our separate ways. Jack has since become a subscriber and is vicariously riding with me through the YouTube channel. Thanks, Jack. You really made me smile, both at the hotel and when you joined my YouTube channel, and your comments since joining. While looking for the museum in Joliet, I stopped a guy carrying a motorcycle helmet and asked if he could point me to the museum entrance. We wound up having quite a conversation about Joliet and motorcycles. Not sure I got his name, but thanks for conversation and well wishes for my trip. This one is especially poignant for me. Maria from Hampton Inn in Williams, Arizona. I checked my baggage with Maria and rode approximately 120-mile round trip to go out to the south rim of the Grand Canyon and take some pictures. When I got back, I checked the videos. I had a ride out and parking lot in the south rim parking lot, and then a ride back to the hotel, but no pictures of the canyon. I was beside myself. The next day was one of my 7th days off, and Maria came into work while I was reading an ebook in the lobby while waiting for my clothes washing and drying. When Maria came in, she saw me and asked how it went. I told her my sad story and what I had done so far that morning trying to get a ride out to the canyon so I could retake the pictures that I lost. Maria was able to point me to an angel who was willing to take me out to the canyon, wait for me, and bring me back. You guys have no idea how much I appreciated that. The road into and out of the canyon is very rough, and I had rode my 3-wheel motorcycle the previous day, but due to how rough it was, I didn't want to repeat. Apparently, if you click the stop recording button within a certain time frame, it's possible to either pause the video, or outright delete. That's what I believe happened because I saw the red light, recording light, when filming. This is a mistake I won't repeat. I checked the video at the rim and then again when I got back in the car at the canyon. I left Maria trip patches for her and the angel. Thanks again. My hotel manager in Winslow, Arizona pointed me to an establishment for dinner that was directly adjacent to the stand-in on the corner and statues in Winslow, Arizona. When I found the establishment, I fortunately found parking right in front of the location, and there were people eating and drinking at the outdoor cafe part of the business. When I got off the Spyder, a gentleman and his wife asked me how I liked the Spyder, and we got into that conversation. I then asked them to confirm the food was good, and good-naturedly the husband tells me, wink wink, it's terrible taste, the portions are too small, etc., 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 and then says, it's great, and suggests I go inside, order, and eat, which I proceeded to do. When I came out, they along with a friend were still there and asked me what I thought. It was great, guys. I then walked over to take my picture with Glenn Frey of the Eagles and the troubadour, believed to represent Jackson Browne, but not acknowledged as such. When I turned around, there was Jason, friend of the husband and wife at the eatery, and he took my camera and shot me with the arms around the troubadour. Guys, thanks so much for the conversation and ribbing. To the husband and wife, all the best on your surgery recoveries and finding your strength so you can get on that new Harley. While on my way down to San Diego, I stopped at a rest area to get a drink of water, stretch my legs, and use the facility. A gentleman was parked next to me, and when he saw me covering things up to secure them, he told me, don't worry, I'll watch them for you. I got my water bottle out and proceeded to drink and talk with Roger. He'd spent a career at GM and then proceeded to travel the world to fulfill childhood memories of places he'd seen in movies as a child. Congrats to you, Roger, for fulfilling your dreams and seeing the sights. By the way, thanks for watching the bike. While checking out of the Red Bluff, California Hampton Inn, a gentleman came up to me and started asking questions about the Spyder and the trip. We had a pretty lengthy conversation. Ben, it was a real pleasure speaking with you and meeting your girlfriend, and hope your daughter's graduation went well. Keep flying birds. While parking at Mount Rushmore, a husband and wife, Chuck and Carla, pulled in next to me and started asking questions about the Spyder, the trip, the fact that I was riding alone, etc. We split up and wound up meeting again near the top when they told me it took real courage to do what I was doing. Thanks for the comments and feedback. They've subscribed and are continuing to follow my journey. It was great meeting and talking with you guys. By the way, pictures do no justice to the sculptures of our former presidents, and the truly awe-inspiring part for me was how those guys that did the sculpting and hauling away the rock did their jobs. Those guys had real stones. To my friends and former colleagues, I truly appreciate you liking and subscribing and providing feedback for improvement. With a journey this long, it's good to have a feeling of support from the home front. Speaking of the home front, a very special shout out to my daughter and her husband for their support on this trip. I love you guys and can't thank you enough for taking care of things while I'm gone. Today, these are the top people memories and some of the places. We'll talk about more of the places in some of the follow-up chats. Let's ride. I'll repeat this and speak about the signs that I've been seeing along the way. I've really struggled to decide which is impressed me more, the land or the people, or if neither would be what they are without the other. Well, for now, let's ride.